As a tech leader, you probably already know all the features that you ought to be doing. You have full knowledge of what's currently on the roadmap, what's going to come up in the future. You know those features. However, what about all the non-feature work that no one will ever ask you to do, but that you actually better start doing and thinking about? Today's video is all about that extra work, that you're going to have to manage and make others aware of if you want to be a genuine CDO or executive in the company and not just an order taker. By the way, hi, if you're new here, I'm Aviv Ben-Yosef. I'm a tech executive, coach, and consultant. I help people just like you create teams they're proud of leading, because life's too short to lead a mediocre team. And our subject today is a key one if you want to create such a team, because if you're only always doing what you're told to do, you're essentially at the baseline level. It's good because some people don't even get there, but what about being more than that? What about creating an organization, again, that's better than mediocre, better than doing what they're told, but that can actually move the needle? Let's talk about the different non-features that you can put on the table and make others aware in order to create more impact and increase the value of your organization. And let's start with the first example, which I think you're aware of, and that's around non-features for things like scalability and other functional requirements. A lot of the times when we're working with people who are non-technical, they don't even know that they need to ask us about the scalability of our solutions. If they see that it has worked for client X, their thinking is, why won't it work for client that's 10x or 100x bigger? It's just the same, right? We're talking about the same screens, we have everything. Why would it be different? Why wouldn't we be able to support them? But you know that behind the scenes there are all sorts of solutions, your architecture, etc., have all sorts of assumptions baked in, and you know that not everything will keep on working if it has to now handle 10x or 100x the load. Knowing that, and I'm assuming you know the roadmap well, you can see what's coming ahead and be proactive here. Come to product, come to the CEO and talk about what extra work needs to be done right now in order to support what's coming ahead in the pipeline. And then you can have an adult conversation here and prioritize it based on actual business needs. Not wait until it's something that no one else can move forward with. You become bottleneck because now we have a signed deal that's only now people realize, oh, we're gonna require 3 months to make that happen. As opposed to you being proactive, going to product and saying, okay, I'm looking at the sales pipeline. I see that we have some deals that, from what I understand, will require a 20x increase in our load, for example. And as far as I understand, we've done some thinking. We think that to support that, we'll need a few weeks. Okay, and then you can make the actual decision. If it's just a couple of weeks, maybe we can wait till we actually sign it. If it's more like 2 months, maybe you want to break it down and start making some steps towards that as we go along, so we don't need to invest the entire 2 months only when we sign a deal and then have the deal way too long. That's you being proactive and coming up with non-feature work that I promise you everyone wants to be aware of and ensure that it happens in a timely manner that's not going to make the actual pipeline get stuck. All right, that's example number one, an easy one. Moving on to example number two, another thing that maybe you're aware of, but that no one will ever ask you to do, and that is investing in your team's velocity. Engineering velocity is a term that most CEOs haven't even heard of, and therefore no one will come and ask you to invest in it. But you, my friend, need to understand that sometimes investing in your tooling, in the processes, in the different systems that you've got will make your team much, much faster. This is not features, all right? We're not coding new features, but by doing it, we're actually gaining time in the future. We'll be able to move much faster. So when you can look at an opportunity and weigh the advantages and the cost, you can again have an adult conversation, maybe even with your counterpart in product, and decide what you want to do. For example, a very common case that I love is that if you don't have right now support for feature flags, you probably would almost instantly get the benefit back if you invest the time to implement it right now. Because once teams have feature flags, all of a sudden it's like you now have a safety net under them. They can work on so many things much faster because they know that worst case scenario, we can just turn off the flag and no one will be affected by it. We can only turn the flag for internal users, for that specific beta client, and therefore we know that things are contained and safe and easily changeable. And therefore, we can just start moving faster. If I don't have that safety net, I have to be a lot more cautious. I have to test things a lot more. And that means that we're going to be spending a lot of time ahead as opposed to getting features out the door in people's hands to start getting feedback. So this is actually a tool that makes your engineers faster, but that most of the times, no one will come and tell you, hey, can you do that? The same applies with so many things around engineering velocity that I think you should always keep your eye out on. Maybe there are opportunities, hear what your team is suggesting, maybe they have some ideas. Whenever you can do those usually pay off really well. Number 3 is creating internal superpowers. I've got different videos about the concepts of tech capital and how we can actually help people within the company gain superpowers, become more capable because we create internal tooling to help them become faster. Think about customer success getting tools that essentially you create a console for them to answer faster or troubleshoot specific scenarios faster. You're making others in the company work faster. Just like we talked about engineering velocity, and this is a lot easier for engineers to be aware of because, oh yeah, I can see that I have an issue, maybe I can make it faster. A lot of the times when it comes to marketing velocity, sales velocity, whatever, the velocity of others in the company, this is often something that we're not aware of. If you can, as an executive, create these connections with your peers and realize that you can help them by creating these internal tooling, sometimes you can accelerate things that the business really cares about. Maybe when it comes to your sales, you can install tools and processes that will make the sales engineers much faster, to have POCs move forward much faster. Maybe you have a wizard, automatic integration tooling, something that automatically troubleshoots things as people try to integrate with your API, whatever. These are not purely product thinking. And when you do that, you make others faster. One of my favorite examples is when one of my clients created a tool that made the sales engineers much faster because they could automatically run through POCs and diagnose what's going on without having to rely on researchers and engineers to pull them into the loop as they were progressing. So think about internal superpowers that your team can create. These are not features again, but they can really make a huge difference. And one last example would be proper innovation. When your team ensures to stay at the top of the tech part, which I hope that's what they do, and they're actually constantly learning and seeing what's happening outside, your team can notice when there are new opportunities of doing things. Yeah, AI provides us with such a clear example. By now, most CEOs will come and require you to do something with AI, but putting that aside, the AI for AI's sake, what about actual technological advancements that your team is aware of and can talk about? Can you make the case, for example, you realize that there's now a new API that now, because prices keep going down when it comes to the different AI APIs, now something that someone did a POC with a year ago, all of a sudden is now actually something that's manageable. It would be profitable to offer this capability or that capability to your users. I can promise you that essentially no product person I know nowadays has the time to keep learning about all the new capabilities that OpenAI et al. Are pushing out. And if your team ensures to constantly learn, see what's happening, read some newsletters, go to conferences, etc., and see what's possible, they can make the case for all sorts of extra capabilities that no one will ask you for otherwise, unless it has become something that others have already implemented, and then you're being told, yeah, we want to do what they did. But that's being laggards. That's just copying others. But if you want to remain at the front or gain the first place, you can help the company be there by ensuring that your team is always keeping its eyes open and seeing what's happening outside. What can we do? What are new opportunities? Intermissions, which I've got a whole video about, are a terrific way for you to ensure that it's happening regularly. But even if you don't have these, or even between intermissions, having a team that regularly understands what's happening outside can help you ensure that what you're doing will pay off, will actually continue working, will find the better solution that just came out, so that you're always making the most of what's technologically available to your team, and that no one in product or the CEO, whatever, will ask you to do because they don't even know that now this is a possibility. The onus is on you and your organization to ensure that you're doing this self-education and then sharing your lessons at the right language, right? Ensuring that you're not saying, hey, no, the API allows me to have these and these tokens, but actually say what business-wise is now possible that wasn't possible before. We can actually now use this capability in order to do X and Y for our users. Talk about that, make the case for that, get the sign up to have a POC or to actually do the feature. This is, again, your team making things possible for the business, creating value where no one even knew value was. Okay, that's it for this video. If you have any questions or comments or some stories about what you actually did, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear. And if you want to reach out to me, in the video description, you can find my details, my newsletter, and also Unplug with Aviv, which is a new offering, which I think if you enjoyed this video, you'll find useful. So check it out, and I'll see you here in the next video.